Hello and welcome to Grand Slam Nitro. It's week 4 and the carnage continues. Let's see what's happening in this week's fight card. Here's what's to come. We start off with a Mayhem, the return of Reaper, the debut of Immersion, and King B Cosmic. Challenge belt time as Behemoth tries to retain their title, but will Feral take it from them? The Retro Rebels continues, Cedric Slammer, Bigger Brother, Hypnodisc and Fluffy all battling it out. Followed by a Micro Madness melee, Spin Cycle, Stratospheric, Japes and Second Defense. And finally our main event tonight is a World Championship qualifier between Sri Lanka's Supernova and the USA's Witch Doctor. Well, as you've just heard, there's no time to take this slowly. It's time to crank up the crazy, in fact, for some mayhem. Three robots go in, only one can come out. A good little practice for our annihilator later on in the series. Let's meet our merry band of hopefuls.
From Newcastle, Immersion.
First time in the Grand Slam for Immersion, this new robot comes in with a very low ground clearance. It has amazing control, but it does rely a lot on its weapon.
From Portsmouth, King B Cosmic.
King B returns to the Grand Slam fully redesigned since Series 2. This new version, all orange and white, has improved drive power, but its weakness is its durability.
From Darlington, Reaper.
Reaper also returns to the Grand Slam, last seen in Series 1, but they didn't do too well due to their high ground clearance and getting toppled onto their sides. They've not changed anything.
Roboteers, stand by.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
Here we go, our first match of the evening, and it's Immersion who gets underneath Reaper very early on. King B now comes in for a look as well. Immersion getting underneath King B. It's a very low machine, this Immersion. Very stealth-like, can get underneath pretty much anything, flipping Reaper onto their side on the floor flipper and flipped across the arena a little bit there. King B now coming in for a poke and a stab at them. King B now coming for a look at Immersion, getting underneath them. That low ground clearance has not helped them out at all because King B is lower and they're out of the arena. They've paid dearly for it. That low ground clearance that they were boasting about has not helped them in the slightest. And now you've got to think, with Reaper on its side, is this match already over? Well, this is interesting. King B with a push and trying to lift up Reaper, playing with their food perhaps, maybe, putting them back onto one wheel and darting off across the arena there at pace. Reaper now back into the fight. Well, that was very sportsmanlike of King B. Or was it? Do they just want to get some dry practice in? I think that's probably what's happening here, but will it cost them? No, it won't. Reaper back on their side, and they can't get up from there. King B now trying to get a lift on Reaper, not sure why. If they just leave them, I think that might be the end of the fight. King B, leave him alone. You've won. Move away. That's it, celebrate. That is it. King B Cosmic will be in the Annihilator in stupendous fashion. Well done to them. King B Cosmic there have sent their competition Interstellar. Well done to them. They're through to the Annihilator later on in the series. But now it's time for another challenger to take on the challenge belt holders Behemoth. It's challenge belt time, if you hadn't already guessed. Let's remind ourselves of what's happened so far. Behemoth took on Tornado in the first match for the challenge belt. Tornado, the holders, did not hold up well to Behemoth, who flipped them all around the arena, and eventually out of it as well. Behemoth, the challenge belt holders, but can they hold on to it as they face another opponent? We'll have to wait and see. So, a new challenger approaches, and this time, it's a kitty cat. Will they purr their way to satisfaction, or lose all 9 lives?
From London, Feral.
Yes, Feral, the vertical spinner with a good Shremek on the back of it. It's got a powerful weapon, but it is an untested, newish build.
From Hemel Hempstead, Behemoth.
The challenge belt holders return, and this time with their bucket scoop attachment in place. A very good pushing and shoving robot. But may their luck run out?
Roboteers, stand by.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
Feral getting spun up to speed at the start of this match, or is it? It didn't seem to really do much to the bucket of Behemoth, who has flipped Feral over, now self-righting in fine-ish style, sort of onto their spinner there, but managing to bounce back up and back into the fight is Feral. Spinning up once again, coming in on the side of Behemoth, trying to get all around, but Behemoth, a very good and very well-armoured sort of tank machine. It can take the hits, and they have been wanting this challenge belt for a very long time. Remember, if they manage to successfully defend their title for the entire rest of Grand Slam Nitro, they get to keep it. It's a bit more of a challenge, this challenge belt this time around, but they are up to it. Or are they? We shall have to wait and see. Feral, meanwhile, is getting back into the fight, having been bullied into the corner. We saw the floor flipper go off, but to no avail. Nobody got flipped across the arena. That Shremek coming down, managing to hold Feral on its wheels. That's a very good tactic from the Feral team, using that Shremek to not be able to be flipped. It could work very nicely for them, especially against such a potent flipper in Behemoth, who doesn't really know what to do to Feral, can't really get a good grip on them. It's an interestingly armoured design, very good with wedges all around, having to self right now, so they've managed to get underneath it, but using that Shremek again, you just saw, to stay on their wheels. Now Behemoth flipped on the floor flipper. A good attack there from Feral. More points on the board for them if it does go to a judge's decision. Behemoth now underneath Feral once again, trying to flip them, but to no avail. Feral is being a difficult machine in the arena to get underneath. Well, we have just seen it there, but to flip over properly. A very wide surface area. You just can't seem to get them over, Behemoth. And using that Shremek once again, self-righting in fine style. This is a really well-defended machine and a very defensive play. They need to go on the offensive a bit more to Feral to get some aggression points on the board. Damage certainly in their favour, and control of that Shremek very good as well. But Behemoth, the more controlled bot in the fight, I would say, is controlling the pace, now flipping them over, but that Shremek coming back over. Self-righting, but sort of caught in the corner there on the flame pit. Behemoth coming in for a look, trying to get them flipped, but doesn't manage it, and spends a long old time broiling on that flame pit. But saying that, so does Feral, who is now caught, I think, propped up on the flame pit itself. Yes, now away, back on their wheels. Behemoth underneath, flipping them again on their spinner, doing the thing. Can't self-right from that angle. Can they get back down from there? No, they can't. They're out of the arena, and Behemoth, in the final few stages of this match, has won it. Behemoth defend the challenge belt title. Behemoth holding on to that challenge belt with all their might. Can anyone take it off of them? We shall have to wait and see as Grand Slam Nitro continues. But now it's time to see what the Retro Rebels have in store for us this week. Get your gramophones out, lads. It's time to take things back in time. Cut to. The old guard return once again. 4 more robots entering the arena for the first time in many, many years. Let's meet the teams.
From Enfield, Fluffy.
Something sheepish about this robot, perhaps its very nasty weaponry. Fluffy, with a very high ground clearance, however, may prove to be weaker than the rest.
From Banbury, Hypnodisc.
A robot that needs no introduction. Hypnodisc, the classic Robot Wars spinner with its dangerous weapon, but weak armour.
From Preston, Cedric Slammer.
Some monkey business going on here. Cedric Slammer enters the arena with its sturdy build quality, but its weapon power is a little bit suspect for me. Watch out for that.
From Brighton, Bigger Brother.
The big flipper. It never dies, so say the team, but its weakness, it has a limited CO2 supply, as with a lot of our flippers in the Grand Slam.
Roboteers, stand by.
3, 2, 1, activate.
Here we go then, and the match begins with the spinners going at each other, but its bigger brother comes in for a good flip on Hypnodisc, who lands well. Now coming for a look at Cedric Slammer's Hypnodisc, a glancing blow off of the side there. That spinner not really getting up to speed as well as we've seen previously. Cedric Slammer now flipped onto their back. You can see the monkey on the bottom, still attached to the robot. That's some excellent zip tying team. Fluffy now coming in for a look and a hit on Bigger Brother. Well armoured though is Bigger Brother, taking the brunt of the blows. Now flipping Hypnodisc, a bit of revenge. Series 5 of Robot Wars, the historians among you will remember these two fought. Hypnodisc absolutely bodied the wonderful Bigger Brother before Bigger Brother pitted them. A really good match that one was, but now the fight continues and chunks are being knocked out of Cedric Slammer by Fluffy, and a big hit there by Fluffy as well. Some excellent back and forth bashes. Fluffy coming in for an excellent few hits there, now being flipped into the top corner CPZ and out of the arena. Good grief, there goes Hypnodisc. Bigger Brother has done the deed, flipped Hypnodisc out of the arena. One of the favourites of this, well, opening battle really for the Retro Rebels is gone. That's big. So now it's going to be Bigger Brother or Cedric Slammer or Fluffy who go through. Two of these, in fact, will go through. And by the looks of things so far, Fluffy seems to be the strongest. Bigger Brother also reasonably strong. Cedric Slammer's really got some work to do and being bullied by Fluffy once again. Now Bigger Brother flipping Fluffy over. They're not quite as powerful this way up. Their spinner does not quite get as good a bite. Now up the right way once again and coming in for a big hit. As you can see, a piece go flying across the arena off of Cedric Slammer, and another big hit to the side. You've got to wonder what bending and buckling is going on round there. That is not looking a healthy machine in the slightest. Cedric Slammer is in the doghouse. Good grief, some damage to the back panel. You can see, I think, laying on the floor, and a flip. Doing somersaults now in the arena is Cedric Slammer, and another one landing upside down. Something's come off, you can see, and now Bigger Brother's flipping it around the arena. What is that? Is it a piece of armour? It's Cedric the monkey. No, leave the monkey alone, Bigger Brother. That's mean. Leave the monkey. Leave it. Bigger Brother. Oh, you bad bots. Flipping it out of the arena. There it goes. Ready? Monkey. Yeet. There it goes. Lovely stuff. I've said yeet in the Grand Slam. Aren't you proud of me? I'm so hip and down with the kids. Anyway, that's the end of the match. And it's Bigger Brother and Fluffy that will go through. Hypnodisc over the back wall. Cedric slammed. And Bigger Brother, as well as Fluffy, go through to the next round of the Retro Rebels. We'll see them later on in the series. Now it's time to see some micro madness. So buckle in for our middleweight action. Four more mini maulers line up in the arena. Let's see who's brawling today.
From Bromley, second offence.
A Grand Slam veteran, but yet to compete on screen. With its saw spinner and excellent Shri mech, it could do reasonably well. However, its weapon is not overly damaging.
From Gloucester, Spin Cycle.
This body spinner uses a special piece of software called Melty Brain that allows both wheels to alternate speeds to let it translate around the arena while spinning.
From Toronto in Canada, Stratospheric.
From the team that brought us Orbital in Grand Slam Series 2, their new robot Stratospheric, a middleweight, is a flipper with powerful punch to it. But are those rear wheels a tad exposed?
From Hayes, James.
A miniature version of Jasper, the BattleBot's entrant. This high-impact absorbent armour should protect it well from the spinners, but it is a very skeletal build.
Roboteers, stand by.
3, 2, 1, activate.
That Melty Brain spinner of Spin Cycle gets up to speed, but second offence manages to stop them. Stratospheric mistiming a flip there. Japes with a good hit. Finally, somebody has done something of effect in this fight, although saying that Stratospheric flips Japes over. That's a very powerful flipper for a team that brought us the flipper that broke a lot last series. That's a few flips now that they've had. I'm interested to see how well this Stratospheric machine does. A good hit, though, from that Melty Brain spinner Spin Cycle, and another good hit, but something's gone flying. I'm not sure what that was, and something else. Good grief. Spin Cycle is ejecting parts all over the arena. I think it's weapon teeth that are going. It is. Another good flip from Stratospheric. Japes over, but self-right in fine style. Another one of these robots that isn't the best heavyweight in all the world, but the middleweight seems to be doing okay. Stratospheric now trying to get a lift in on second offence to no avail. A good flip though that time. Really got under it, got a lot of purchase and managed to get him over. That self-righting mechanism, very good though. Now unbalanced is spin cycle here, which could prove to be fatal for them. Now cornered are they. Stratospheric with another good flip. Second offence landing well, bouncing off of the front flipper. I wonder, is it doing much damage? Another good flip though from Stratospheric. Spin cycle coming in for a good hit on spin cycle and onto Japes, who was just holding spin cycle in a corner. They can't do anything from there, of course. A very good flip there from Stratospheric. Second offence upside down will need to self-right and do it in fine style. That Shremek was a later addition to the robot. They thought it probably important to have one, and it was a good thinking team. Definitely need a self-righting mechanism, otherwise you will be flipped over and left for dead. Now a good flurry of flips we're seeing from Stratospheric, and a fourth, a very good attack, and spin cycle are over, and I don't think they've got a Shremek, which means they're going to be left for dead in just the manner that I said that second offence would if they didn't have a Shremek as well. Well, call it predictive, I don't know, but that's definitely what has happened. Stratospheric now with their flipper in the air, getting it back down, getting underneath second offence, who need to self-right again, have done so. It's an electric self-righter, they're not wasting any CO2 here. Stratospheric, meanwhile, has a limited CO2 supply. It is one of those robots that has that CO2 tanks on board, and even more so for a middleweight that doesn't have quite as much storage space for all that CO2. Now being pushed onto the flame pit by Stratospheric is second offence. Japes just sort of watching on in the middle of the arena. They don't really need to get involved here. A massive flip though from Stratospheric. Good lord, they must have been saving that one up in the tanks. How on earth did they manage that flip? I don't know, but that was an impressive flip from them. Really got underneath second offence, and now that Shremek is stuck open by the looks of things. That's going to be a problem for them if they get turned over. Japes, meanwhile, being flipped, or mistiming the flip is Stratospheric, in fact. Stratospheric will need to watch that. Now flipping second offence over, well I said, didn't I? It would be probably curtains for them if they got flipped over, and that is exactly what happened. It has gone to the judges, however, and we shall have to wait and see who goes through from these two. So here's what the judges are going to be looking through. The fight footage, of course, showing a very close match, I would say. Stratospheric and Japes, last two robots standing, and both were aggressive throughout. Both put pay to robots such as spin cycle and second offence. You saw early on Japes managing to corner spin cycle, having deflected it enough for it to get some significant damage. Stratospheric, meanwhile, flipping second offence all around the arena. Throughout the entire match, in fact, that could be what sways it for the judges. That and the original takeout of spin cycle by Stratospheric. That big flip at the end, though, truly stellar from the Rocketeers. Well, the judges' decision is in. Based, of course, on damage control and aggression, they have given the win to Stratospheric. Well done to them. They're moving on to the Micro Madness finals later in the series. But for now, we move on to our main event. And this one is going to knock your socks off. It's a World Championship qualifier between two big kinetic energy spinners in our Spin City main event. So here we go once again, two countries battling it out for a spot in our World Championships event at the end of Grand Slam Nitro. Let's meet them.
Representing Sri Lanka, Supernova.
Supernova returns to the Grand Slam Nitro arena. We've seen them previously alongside teammates Valhalla 2, who they last defeated in the World Series Special, a true international veteran.
Representing the United States of America, Witch Doctor.
Also returning to the Grand Slam Nitro arena is Witch Doctor. We last saw them in the US Championships, now competing for a spot in the World Championships. We love the voodoo you do.
Roboteers, stand by.
3, 2, 1, activate.
Both bots getting spun up a little bit cagey at the start of this to do so, but it is important for the big spinners that they do get spun up quickly. We've not yet seen any big hits out of these two, though that was an interesting one from Supernova on the front of Witch Doctor. That's a better one. Supernova just really clouting Witch Doctor around the arena a little bit. Now Witch Doctor coming in with a push and a shove. That spinner not really getting a good bite yet on Supernova. we'll need to watch out for that as the fight goes on, I'm sure. Witch Doctor coming in for a push. Definitely the better controlled, the more manoeuvrable of the two. Supernova, very wibbly-wobbly. Another good hit on the front of Witch Doctor. You saw it sort of jar there. The flipper going off, and that was interesting. I didn't think Supernova were quite on it, but they were indeed. You got to think how much shock is going through these two robots as they hit one another. Supernova's weapon doesn't seem to be spinning. Is that as a result of said shock? We will have to wait and see. No, back up to speed are they. Witch Doctor managing to just get out of the way of the spinner, but not that time. Being pushed onto the floor flipper Supernova and flipped over. Now not quite as manoeuvrable. It's very difficult to drive upside down, and they were already having some sort of drive issues. A lovely little turn on the catwalk there from Witch Doctor and pushing into a sidewall. A lovely little move. I like that a lot. Now coming in, bouncing off of that spinner of Supernova, which doesn't seem to be spinning still. Witch Doctor with a big hit there, popping Supernova up into the air and coming in for another one, and another little pop there. Now Witch Doctor getting the good bites in, and a really good one there. They got some air. Look at this. Airtime from Supernova. That spinner on Witch Doctor is incredibly powerful. And Supernova, who started this match out very well, is now in a spot of bother. Another good hit from Witch Doctor, coming in on the backside, finding those bite points, or maybe they carved them earlier on and just going for the same spots. That would be some excellent control from Witch Doctor if that's the case. I'm not sure it is. I think that's more wishful thinking on my part. Now Witch Doctor caught on the floor flipper. They'll want to watch out for that. Not used to arena hazards are the Witch Doctor team. The BattleBots, of course, hasn't got that many. Floor flipper certainly not. That's for sure. Being pushed all around is Supernova. Another big hit. Witch Doctor really finding its way into the match. Got warmed up. And another from Witch Doctor. Supernova don't really know what to do here. Getting hit all over the place. Back and forth. Slapped about. And they can't really do much about it. Supernova, are they even moving anymore? I'm not so sure. Another big hit from Witch Doctor. Supernova trying to move. Really quite sluggish. Witch Doctor getting spun up. And a final big hit. I say final because I don't think there's any life from Supernova. Certainly not anymore if there was before. And that is going to be it. Witch Doctor have earned their place in the international special at the end of the series. They're going to be buzzing from that one, having gone out of the US Championships. They've got an international championship to defend. Can they do it? C's called, and we shall see them later on in Grand Slam Nitro. Witch Doctor casts her magic spell over Supernova and moves on to that World Championship special at the end of the series. Well done to them. Unlucky to Supernova, who go out at this stage. And that's just about all we have time for in this week's episode. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like. Do subscribe to the channel if you are new. And if you enjoyed this, make sure you check out more Grand Slam Nitro next week. Until then, bye-bye!